This is the subscription page of my Apple account. And there's something that's been constantly annoying me. You can look at the online video platforms here. Here, Bilibili Premium, Tencent Video Premium, People's Video Premium, iQIYI Premium, Youku Premium. In addition, a while ago, I also have Mango and Kuaishou and Xigua Premium. So in total, that's like 6 or 7 premiums. I personally hate not just buying multiple premiums on different places, but also the terrible experience of switching around back and forth, trying to find the right platform to watch the thing I want to watch. This has been bothering me for so long, which kind of leads to my research question. So, hi everyone, this is the final project video of my Spring 2021 EAP. My topic is about the fight between major online video platforms here in China. More specifically, why are there so many video platforms competing with each other? How this fight came into being, and why does it continue to exist? In addition, my secondary question is that will there be a Chinese YouTube, a major platform in China, the single major platform? Will there be one in the short term, and will there ever be one? Yeah, so I'll start by introducing some major players in this field. On the top left, you can that's Tencent Video, and it's owned by Tencent, and on the top right, you can see that's Youku, owned by Ali. And the third one, this one on the bottom, it's iQIYI, it's owned by Baidu. And spoiler alert, just a quick preview, they are not making positive revenue. They are all suffering losses. So at the initial stage of my research, I was trying to figure out a logical explanation for why they continue to do this. Even though they're suffering losses, they're not making money. So this is my first guess of the main motives. All the big platforms suffer loss, but they do not exit the market because they want to be the last one standing in this battlefield. And then, as a sole major company, they will earn the money back in a monopolistic way. And it turns out that this guess couldn't be farther from the truth. And I like to bring in my interview, the clip of my interview with my first interviewee, who is a UI designer in Youku Video, who's been working inside the field for several years, and who's really got some inside thoughts, and I thought it would be really helpful.
来说的话，就像说市场里面进来企业或者进入腾讯，就是基本上15年之后的话，基本上那个市场被分割出来了。那像是说你要指着一家广告肯定是不挣钱的，然后再就是它被阿里收购以后，阿里的定位给它相当于说是导流，而且更多是给淘宝导流，因为通过它的流量入口给淘宝做导流，然后基本上。然后它的很多的位置其实都分发了一些有关淘宝的一些东西，包括入口了，其实都是为了淘宝服务的。而且相当于说，本身那个视频说白就是为了增加它的曝光，就是为了它成本低益，相当于说盈利方法就是增加曝光率嘛。所以说基本上包括这3家其实都一样的，包括爱奇艺啊，包括那个腾讯，包括优酷，其实这3家现在的定义都是为其他产品做曝光、做引流了。只有如果说你真是盈利的话，以盈利为主的话，可能只有你像 B 站那种风格的话，它可能是在盈利的。但是这3家基本上是它的定义，基本上都是一样的，都是为了其他产品曝光做的、流量做的东西。
就是相当于是，比如说优酷，就相当于是阿里往里面花钱烧钱，然后
对
把它用作一个为自己的东西导流的这样一个工具。
对。
这样好，谢谢你。Having listened to all that, my mind was blown away. It's completely different from what I thought, but I guess that's just the fun of this research, right? To renew your preconceived notions, I guess. So just to reiterate, the reason, the logic behind it is that big corporations, they use platforms as tools to attract views and direct them and turn it into revenue in the other sites. This is the graph that I made. I'll explain. On the top right, that's the icon of Alibaba, and on the bottom right, that's Youku. On the bottom left, that's the audience who use the Youku, this online video platform, and on the top left, that's a group of people who use Alibaba. For those of you who are not familiar, for example, Taobao, a shopping application, is owned by Alibaba, and in this scenario, I mainly refer to that. You can see on the bottom, this broad arrowhead that pointed right, that's natural views. The people who watch video platforms, and Alibaba would drop the ads of the goods from Taobao to online video platforms, here Youku, and people who watch videos on this platform, apart from them, probably they will get interested in these ads and click on the link to jump to Taobao. So this way, a part of the traffic is directed to Alibaba. More specifically, it's other sites, it's other applications where you can make profit. More specifically, Taobao, and this traffic can also be promote sales and be turned into revenue. And also here, the longest arrowhead here, this is the increase in the profit making sites. So for example, some people, after once or twice, they have never used Taobao before, and now they have used it for the first time, and then they get interested, and it's handy, so they will probably use it again. And in this way, there's an increase of the traffic that goes directly to Taobao. So both of these increase in traffic can both promote sales. So this is a more vivid illustration of how the big corporations use online video platforms to make profits elsewhere, somewhere other than the video platform itself. So in other words, for platform itself, just like I said, it's not making positive revenue. But if you look at the overall effect of video platforms, online video platforms to these big corporations, the overall effect, it's got to be a positive and economic efficient way. Otherwise, they will definitely shut it down, because these firms, they are all profit driven. They would not take the chance, take a long shot at the cost of losing something like 1.1 billion yuan per year, which is something I'll bring up later. And now I like to bring the fiscal report of both Youku and Alibaba. This is the fiscal report of Youku, which the report is in Chinese, so I'll take out the important information and translate. On third quarter of 2015, fiscal year of 2015, Youku itself, it is making a money of 1.8 billion RMB. It has a increasing rate of 54%, and among them, 0.25 billion RMB comes from the users, and the most important row is here. It's suffering from a loss of 0.43 billion RMB, and the same quarter last fiscal year is suffering a loss of 0.19 billion RMB. So this is consistent with what the UI designer said. These online video platforms itself it's not making positive profit, and this is like a general situation, general depiction. The similar situation goes for other online video platforms such as Tencent and iQIYI. And as for the Alibaba, the company who owns Youku, this is the fiscal report of Alibaba, and here I like you to focus on this. This is a profit, and you can see starting from the first quarter of fiscal year of 2017, yeah, this character means 0.1 billion. So move the dot left and one by one figure, and you get billion. So you can see it is more. It's positive throughout the whole process, and generally it is on a rising trend. You can see it's rising. 1000, 1018, 2000. Oh, here there's a dip to 2006. There's a 600, and then 1300, 2000, and 2900. This is you can see it's positive profit making of Alibaba. Although how much money is generated by those two increase in the traffic, as I mentioned, although that number is not specified and arguably really hard to calculate, but we can very intuitively see that it has got to be positive. Otherwise, like I said, because of the profit-driven property, it will be shut down. The platform will not continue to exist. Yeah, here it goes. These, just to say it again, because it's extremely important, the core summary of my research question. Although itself is not making money, platform itself is not making money, but overall it is having a positive effect to the big corporations. Otherwise, the big corporations will drop it. And so here we have some of the reflection that I made myself. I kind of look back on this interesting contrast between reality and my imagination. My first guess in the motives of those big corporations is completely disproved. It's completely different, yeah, as I mentioned. And also, the UI designer brings up that even if one becomes a monopoly, there's anti-monopoly laws to prevent massive profit making. So even though they do become the last one standing, it's still not gonna recover the sunk cost. Yeah. And third one's that this contrast is that those big firms wouldn't take a long shot at the cost of, suffering from a loss of 0.1 billion RMB per year, as I mentioned before. As for my secondary research question, whether or not there will be a Chinese YouTube in the future, well, I like to address this first by bringing some concepts. The video platforms that we talked about before, they're more heavily focused on content. So we call that content-heavy online video platforms. And for platforms like YouTube, which is composed of more user-generated content, so we call that UGC, user-generated content online video platforms. And in China, some equivalent is first Douyin and Kuaishou, but these two are like kind of relatively minor, so I'll just leave it out. And the most important, most promising one, and also a platform that I personally love deeply, Bilibili. This is the picture graphed by some artists or some fans when Bilibili had its first IPO in Nasdaq. And I was wondering whether or not Bilibili has the potential to become the future Chinese YouTube, although I have some doubts. And I asked this question to also my first interviewee, the UI designer in Youku, and this was his response.
但像说我说 B 站那块东西跟他们不一样，像 B 站发展是二次元，它的用户人群是有特定用户人群的，它不跟他们三家的用户人群是不一样的，所以说它把中间动漫这一块二次元这一块从那三家挖走了这块区域，相当于说形成了 B 站。OK， 我把这部分人聚在一起，但是当时所有人认为这个东西是一个小，就像对现在来说也是一样的，这是一个小部分人群，它不是一个大部分人群。按 DAU 算的话，可能 B 站的用户人群也没有那三家用户人群多，因为它是一小撮人，你跟那个三家它的定位是不一样的。 而且为什么现在，而且像说他要买一些自己的番剧的东西，二次元番剧的东西，他要一些上午用做社区，但是他的社区群体还是这一小撮人，他把二次元这小撮人做了一个社区，你又可以在上面玩，你又可以，咱说就像说想看漫画，他都是针对于这小撮人的，像说他没有那么广的面。那像举例，像说你像说更老一点的人，像我父母那代40-50岁的人，他们会看，他们优酷和 B 站，他们选择什么？他们选择是会选择，优酷那3家，他们不会选择看 B 站的，这就是非常好的例子。就像说用户，他只是B 站只是把那3家的非常小一块领域蛋糕拿出来自己做，单独做。
To better understand what he said, basically, Bilibili is taking out sections of ACG or AGC, anime, games, and comics. These content out from each of these sections and then unify into one site here, Bilibili. And ACG, for those who are not familiar, I can basically give you a picture to understand on a very shallow level. It's like beautiful imagery and sort of like cartoon, but with more mature and spiritual cores within then I like to dive deep into like the mechanism, the reason why Bilibili is like the secret garden among young people. This is a generally accepted notion, and why it is so popular with children. I'm sorry, youngsters, young people. This is article written by individual on Bilibili. Although this source is not academic enough. Although this source itself is not convincing enough, but it is consistent. Everything's really consistent with what I have been experiencing for the last 5 or 6 or so years. It says that the core competitiveness of Bilibili is its community culture. The first supporting block of this community culture is high interaction rates. You can see here, this is the video playing, and all these words, characters. It is a very distinctive feature called the bullet curtain, and it's almost everyone can type whatever they want to say, and there's also, of course, regulations. Some dirty or not some inappropriate words will not get through. But this is mostly like spontaneous or instant response to the content of the video. It makes you feel like you're watching it with the audience, even though you're all alone watching it by yourself. That kind of reaction, the kind of feeling that someone is reacting the same way as I do, or someone is really humorous enough to post something that can make you laugh instantly. That feeling is amazing, according to my experience, and also apparently according to others' experience, like the writers who wrote this page. And a second important thing is a company. Generally speaking, a fan, active user in Bilibili, probably they have subscribed to many uploaders, but those uploaders, I would argue that a big proportion of those uploaders have, although they do not know each other, but there is already very deep connections, like a one-way connection between user and uploader. More specifically, when the uploader is graduating or is falling in love or move a house or get married or even have children, all these users are like friends, witnessing all these big moments of their life. And on the bulletin, on bullet curtain, there's all cheers and take a picture together. All these are the witness of the big milestones of someone's life. of the uploader's life. This is one of the biggest reasons why people are really connected to this platform, because people are already deeply connected to uploaders on this platform. They almost like someone they know. They have witnessed all big moments, almost the majority of the big moments of their life. So this is the main content of this journal, this article on Bilibili. I cannot believe this. I'm kind of getting emotional having read this, because there's also personal memories flashing back. Yeah, it really speaks directly to my heart. And back to the topic, I think this kind of connection, this kind of specific young culture, is what makes young people feel at home. It's what makes them consider Bilibili a secret garden. But it's exactly because of this feature, it's kind of dividing, it's kind of excluding people from other ages. For example, the elderly people. I asked I asked my uncle the other day. He didn't even know Bilibili, but we considered it as the most the closest thing to YouTube. But the people from their age generally don't even know about this. And now I want to bring my second interview with a heavy Bilibili user who is also a student in University of Washington, and he's a heavy user based on the fact that he even took a picture with the CEO of Bilibili, Cheng Rui, and also he got his signature. That was kind of impressive. Right. What do you think? Do you think Bilibili will become the future Chinese YouTube? Or not?
For one aspect, I think hopefully with unexpected chances, the Bilibili can be the YouTube one. But most recent years, I think it's hard to achieve, because Bilibili was originally built for a certain community of ACG, as you mentioned, the animation, cosplay, and games, and the people who love those kind of factors, mostly the youth, or even the kids with some not very high age or partially very low age. So the original core member or user of this Bilibili is fixed at that level. Even though recent years it expands bigger to some history or politics or blog or some other kind of things that maybe more ages people will like it, but I think it's far not enough to achieve something like YouTube does.
Do you think it ever will, like, given it long enough time?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say also.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I personally very agree with what he said. And to add on to his point, to make it more solid, I found this article that is almost exactly identical to his original own opinion. It's called "Is Bilibili the Next YouTube in China?" published on October 16, 2020 by a journal called Research and Markets. I like to focus on these two paragraphs. Bilibili is one of the most popular online video platforms with bullet arc curtain, and has a complete generalized entertainment business ecology. And also to hit here, however, confronted with the strategy of breaking the circle, community culture is also a barrier for Bilibili. As content generalizes and the platform continues breaks its circle, Bilibili is going towards becoming a YouTube in China. But the pushbacks and setbacks along this way is fairly significant, because young people's passion will not only contribute to the building of this platform, but it will also include contribution to maintaining the platform to be the same. They want their secret homeland to stay the way they are, full of the jokes and memes and some jokes that only they understand. This rules out the possibility of easy access for elderly people. If it becomes more diverse, for the young people who originally use it, it will become less of a homeland to them. So in conclusion, Bilibili is far from becoming a Chinese YouTube in the short term. For the same reason why it is deeply connected to young people because of the culture and the community. And then I'd like to bring some course material content. I like to relate to Chris Anderson's idea of crowd accelerated innovation in a speech in a TED Talk he delivered to his audience. In that TED Talk, he explained the crowd accelerated innovation by this. Internet, more specifically online video platform, it gives more exposure to some aspects of life that is rarely exposed before. So in this way, more talents that cannot be easily shared before now becomes better and easier for people to share. For example, and also by building a community and with certain reward system, it furthermore motivates people to converse within this community and challenge upon each other. And this positive cycle will spurs innovation very rapidly. And here I think if the platform Bilibili fails to include the massive talent of the people in their 30s and 40s who's currently in their different expertise and with very experienced life journey, well, I think this platform will definitely fail to include even the majority of the crowd, you could say. It's then really intuitive to see that this acceleration generated by this group of people, although young, energetic, creative, but also generally naive and lack certain depth in certain areas. This acceleration of innovation is really not influential enough to make Bilibili a Chinese YouTube up to the top and the one that everyone knows. I also think it's not enough from this aspect. And you can imagine that with a platform full of young people, the content is mostly focused on some easy and exciting stuff, sort of like vlogging, dancing, and other fields. But in certain, for example, philosophical or some life suggestion offering, these kind of videos, there's a big blank here. Also, the ideas heavy content. From all these aspects, Bilibili is so far away from generating enough momentum to become the Chinese YouTube. And in this final conclusion, I will make it brief. So online video platforms are used as tools by big corporations which promote sales on places that are not included in the fiscal report of the platform in other sites at other places, for example, Taobao. And second, in the short term, Chinese YouTube will not appear. That would be the end of my sharing. And this is the work cited for your reference. Thank you for your time. And at the very end, I'd like to say a big thank you to Professor Jordan. Thank you for this whole semester. It's been a wonderful journey. I hope my weeks of effort can bring you something new, something novel to think about. Yeah, and I look forward to see you around on campus.